Alright guys, it's bike day. My delivery truck has just turned up. Got documents as well. So I know what the reg is. I didn't even know what year it is, but it is a K reg. So it's one of the later models. So yeah, let's have a look. Oh, cool. There you go. How far you come from? Far, yeah?
From Manchester side.
Manchester. Wow.
I was in Leeds this morning.
Yeah. You didn't only bring this though. You had other things you were doing.
Yeah, I've got a few
collections. Got a piano on that.
and...
Okay. Nice. This is the bike, guys. So we're just gonna get this down here now. Get this in the garage. Right.
This is the tricky part. There's not much space to turn.
Yeah, I see that.
It's just quite heavy.
I can imagine.
Is it a sought after model?
Is it what, sorry?
Is it a sought after model?
Sought after?
Sought after, yeah.
Like
in demand?
It's a bit. It's becoming a bit of a classic now. Yeah. Not so many of them are around now. Alright guys, so I've received the bike. I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm going to do the once over now. And let's see firstly if it's come with what it's supposed to come with, or what I was expecting. And let's just look at the general condition of it. Alright, so one thing I know it wasn't coming with was the front brake calipers. So here's the line here. Yep, so we've got no brake calipers. Brakes on here seem really good already. We've got brake discs. Well, I knew there was no brake calipers. There was no fairings. I know there's no fairings, there's no clocks. It's a key lock, but whether there's a key, that's another thing. Airbox. From the pictures, it didn't have an airbox on it, but obviously it has an airbox in parts, in bits. It's not meant to have an exhaust, which I can see it doesn't. No exhaust. Okay, so it doesn't have any pegs, which is fine because I had already bought pegs for the original bike that I was going to build. So I've got the pegs for both sides, so I've got those. So here's the swing arm that I took apart yesterday, all these bits that I cleaned yesterday. It's got a stand, which is good. Not sure what this is. Well, it's a cable. So is this a clutch cable? I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll find out where this is, what this is for, and where it's meant to go. Yeah, generally, looking at the frame looks good so far. Let's see. Frame looks in decent condition so far. Actually even looks, this part frame actually even looks better than the one I've got, because it does have a few nicks along here on both sides on the other one. Got the same wheels in here, same condition pretty much, flaking paint, which is expected at this age. Brake disc is better on this one, I think, than the other one. Brakes seem quite good actually. I think we've got rear calipers, or do we? Do we not? Maybe not. Nope. I don't think we have rear calipers. Oh yes, we do. We do have a rear caliper. We just haven't got the front calipers, front brakes. Here is our spark plugs. Battery terminals. This looks like that could be the speedo sensor maybe or something. I think this goes into the speedo because we don't have any speedos here. One thing I would have loved to have seen would have been keys in here, which we don't have. What have we got here? This might be the throttle cable here. I think, yeah, at least the carbs are moving. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so we've got carburetors on this bike, 4 carbs, 1, 2, 3, 4 they are, on the top of the engine here. There's our engine down here. I believe the clutch is somewhere here. I'm gonna have to learn all this stuff. I've never seen one of these in close up like this before. So this is for radiators and stuff. So we haven't got any radiators, that's another thing. Should have 2 here, 1 here and 1 down here. There's a starter motor, I think, which is on. Is the other plugs. So we've got 2, this is 4 cylinders, so we've got 2 plugs here, and then we should have another 2 here. There's no wiring for the other 2, so that might be missing as well. Let's see. So we've got some electrics. We've got all these, which is good. There's electrics here. I think these might be for the lights, if I'm correct. And stuff up the front. So this is the wiring harness, which is good. Here's our little horn. Let's have a look at the shocks. The shocks look in really good condition. I don't see any surface rust or pitting or anything. They look quite polished here. So that is another good sign. To be honest, it's not bad condition at all. Front wheel again is going to need to be painted, so that'll be that. The forks again, this part of the forks we'll clean up and paint in black. It's just a few scuffs and stuff. To be honest, the forks look quite good. I don't see no leaking or anything. Bit dirty under there. Starter motor. So we need a rear frame, subframe I think it's called. That is basically the part where the seat is on, but we should fit the seat on. Yeah, got a chain guard. I think this is the brake, the rear brake holes. Horrible in yellow there, so we can upgrade all this stuff. I think that's the master cylinder here for the brakes as well. There's our shock. I have another one as well, so I've got 2 to choose from to see which one I'm going to use. I think this is where we check the oil. Looks like it might have a little dipstick or something in it. Let's see if there's any oil in it. Not sure. No idea if I'm checking this right, to be honest, at the moment, but I will be checking the book out, the manual, so I'm not really sure. So it doesn't look like there's a lot in there, but obviously we'll check that out later properly. So yeah, so far it's actually looking quite good, and most of the parts are actually here. So even the filter on this is very clean. Doesn't seem like it's had much use on it. So maybe it's just clean it up, save some money. It was good. So yeah, I've taken the box off now. We can see what's going on here. Not sure what's meant to come here. Oh, probably a fuel tank and some stuff. So anybody know what these four are? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know. And anything you see that might be missing that I will need to get as well, let me know. I'm gonna have to figure out this key thing. Probably just need to get a whole set of locks, don't I? Lock here, lock on the tank, lock on the seat. So I'll probably just have to get a whole set of locks and replace this. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna get. Probably sharpish. But generally, guys, I think it's looking good so far. It's a lot more complete than what I had. As I said, I only had the swing arm, which I've taken to apart. I had the yokes, I had this wheel, obviously. I had a frame, which is here, main frame. I was saying to you about a few marks. I actually polished these out, but there was a couple of marks here. You can see another gouge here, which I haven't polished out. So definitely going to keep with that. And that is a newer bike as well. I think this was a H reg, I think, or something like that, and this is a K. So now I've got to do some research, find out when the last MOT was. I think it's going to be quite a while ago. So I'm going to go and check that online and see what information comes up. Also, so I've got all these documents here, so I need to go through. This is all history. I'll go through this with you guys as well. Maybe some information that's interesting. But we can see this should be the reg plate, K441PHW. And let's see what history we've got in here. All right, let's see if we can go through some of this. I'm gonna have to try and obviously not show any personal details of anybody, so I might be stopping and starting, but let's see what we've got here. So we've got the reg, this confirms it, that is the reg number. So I'll be using this document to transfer the title in my name, Team Roberts. And in 2006 it was sold to somebody, and that was the color, blue and yellow. We know we got blue fairings, so I need to find out what that color combination looks like. I'll see if I can find something online with that color combination. So it came with 12 months road tax, and it sold for service MOT. I'm assuming this is a sales invoice, £2,595, and that was about 17 years ago. And the MOT 2010 was tested, and it only had 15,000 miles. So that again was about 13 years ago. So interesting to see what the latest MOT. I've got quite a lot of MOTs here, quite a few, which is good. So I've got tons of MOTs here, going back to 2005-ish. This is the most recent one that I've got here. So you can see 2011, I think this is the most recent one. Is it? Oh no, it's not. I've actually got another one. But this one's 2011, had 16,297. Actually, this test was done in 2018, and the mileage at the time was 6,756. Before that, the previous one hadn't been done 7 years prior, and that was basically the mileage. So it looks like the bike was sitting for about 7 years, and then it did 500 miles, and it had an MOT. So that is what we've got here. Let's see if we can find any more. Looks like there was some work done here. Looks like, yeah, probably a lot of work, I can imagine. Been sitting for quite a while. So you can see 23 hours of labor at £60 an hour, £1,380. Remove alarm, replace front and rear tires, replace fork, stanchions, seals and dust seals, service front and rear brake calipers, replace brake pads. It probably failed, and then it probably had all this stuff to be done for it to pass. Carry out service, rebuild carbs, battery, road test, fail, front brake pads, all these parts here. It's a massive bill coming up. Wow, that was the bill to get this bike back on the road after 7 years. £2,721 is what was paid. So hopefully I'm not going to spend that much. All right, so here's a later test, a date of test 2020. So 2020 to 2021 expiry was 17,975 miles. So that's the latest I have this documented. We'll see what online says, but according to this bike has got quite a low mileage, which is excellent. So we've got old docs and MOTs, etc. Oh, these are really old MOTs, the old style. You guys probably know these ones. 2004. And let's see what we have as far as mileage. 7,000 miles, and it's a 1993 registered bike. So there we go. We're gonna service again 2005. Some of these really old receipts, almost 20 years old. This was a service, and a service at that time cost £267. So these are the invoices. So these are the invoices that I have. This is pretty much it. What I'm interested to know is what the last MOT is. This so far looks like it could be the last one, expired in 2021. I'd like to know why the bike is off the road and it was only on 3 years ago. So hopefully we have not got no major issues with something like the engine or something like that. The only advisory had was a noisy exhaust. So I'm gonna go online now. I should be able to check now. I've got the logbook number. I should be able to check online and see what the last MOT was. Right, so I've put in the reg number, and this is what's come up. So we've got the last MOT is expired in 2021. So that is the last MOT that I actually have, which is great. So we know it didn't have an MOT after that. So the last MOT was recorded about 17,000 something miles. So basically since then it's not really, well, it's not ridden after that. So it's quite low mileage. Oh, here we go. So we got 2020 MOT, passed in 2020 and expired in 2021. It was at almost 18,000 miles. So looking at how this bike has been, it's done about 1,000 miles a year, 500 miles there, between 7 years. So we have 11 years, then we have, sorry, we got 2011, then we got 2018, which was the 7-year gap. And then we have a year or 2 year gap again where it was off the road, and then it's on at 2020, it was MOT'd. And again, we saw that on the last MOT advisory was a noisy exhaust. So we've got all these MOTs here. I'm going to see if there's any more information that I can get. So I'm going to do a vehicle history check. I don't know if this is the best website to use, but this is the one that I'm going to use. So what you can do is you can get a free check here, which pretty much just tells you some vehicle details, which I already know, MOT status and history and evaluation. So I'm not really interested in those things. Then you've got another option here which tells you whether it's been stolen, whether it's been exported, if it's a write-off, which is important for us to find out, which I don't believe it is, basically the state that it's in now, whether it's been scrapped, and then you have a sort of third level service which also tells you if there's any outstanding finance. So these are good to use if you're going to buy a vehicle from someone. I doubt it's going to have an outstanding finance on it, so I'm just going to go for this one, which is going to give me this key. I really want to know to make sure the bike's not stolen and if it's not written off. So those are probably the two main things that I need to know. So I'm just going to pay for this one now. and then I'll come back. Right, so let's see what we got him in now. This is the information I've come up with. So we've got the reg number here, and it's come up with the right model. VFR400 NC30. 2004 it says, although it's 1993 plate, that's when it was registered in the UK according to the logbook. So it was manufactured, I think, in 1993. So on the logbook, it's given a K reg because it is imported. It does say here imported. Most of these bikes are imported, to be honest, from Japan usually. So critical checks, this is what I'm interested in. So not reported stolen, so that is one of the main checks, so that's great. There's no record of a write-off, which I didn't expect. Otherwise, you know, you would have seen the frame would have been a problem or something. I do need to check the frame number on the chassis and make sure it lines up with the logbook, so that's one thing I'm going to do as well. So there's no MOT found, obviously we expected that, and there's no road tax. So I am going to have to put the bike on SON anyway. So no color changes recorded, no plate changes, engine numbers not known, which is also what it says on the logbook. And you've got a VIN number, which is, these are the last 4 digits. So again, I've got to double check the logbook and make sure all this stuff marries up together. So we've got a MOT history, and it's pretty, looks like it lines up. 17,975, noisy exhaust, 2018, and in 2011 that was the gap. So that's all that stuff that seems to line up. So it's manufactured, as I said here, in 1993. It was registered in the UK 2004. So I think this is pretty much what we needed to know. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think now we can proceed in building this bike. All right guys, good news. So my checks are complete. I checked the VIN number and it lines up with what we found on the online records as well as the logbook. So this bike is the bike that's registered on that logbook, and the MOTs and all that stuff are related to this bike. So happy with that. So yeah, just having a quick look over again. I think I figured this out. I think this is a choke, because I know these bikes have a choke. I think it's somewhere around here. Because when you pull this, it does pull the lever on the carburetor up here, on the other end of that wire. You can see me pulling it there. So that will be the choke to start it up. Yeah, so I've just been having a look around, and it actually has the exhaust manifold as well, which I didn't notice. So it only just hasn't got the exhaust part, which I can get quite easily. Yeah, so I think in the week I shall be going over this more thoroughly and probably start breaking it down. So with the color coordination on the logbook and on the online report, this comes up as multicolored. Probably most of these bikes will come up as just multicolored because they all have sort of a multiple color scheme. There was one repair invoice that had the bike down as blue and yellow. So we got a blue front part here. So I'm assuming this possibly is not the original color. I couldn't really find any bikes that had black wheels with the blue here. There's a Rothman's one, which is sort of blue and yellowish, but all the fairings are white. There's another similar color scheme, sort of blue and orangey, but all the wheels are orange. So this could be a custom paint job, but at least because it's recorded on the logbook as multicolored, I can essentially do this whatever color I want really, and we don't know what the original color was. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with one of the original multicolors. The blue, white and red is more than likely what I'm gonna do. So that should be fine. But yeah, this is pretty much it, guys. Yeah guys, so that is it. So I just wanted to show you guys the arrival of the new bike and just go through it again. If you've seen anything that might stand out to you, something that it doesn't look right, something you can see that's missing that I'm going to need, let me know overall what you think of the bike, the condition of it, and do you think yeah, just tell me what you think. Basically just want to get your views and opinions, you bike heads out there. So yeah, that's it for me today, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Sure, you'll see another video in the coming week or so once I get time. It's going to be after work, get in garage and do a little tinkering about. Yeah. All right guys, so thanks for watching anyway, and I'll see you on the next one.